See at home live. I'm your host, Gabe Howard, and I am super excited to be here for another episode. Today, we're going to learn all about Ending the Silence, which is a signature NAMI program that NAMI Tennessee is proud to offer. But I know no details other than that. But don't worry, our guest does. But before we get to them, check this out. Join NAMI Tennessee's email list by heading over to namitn.org. Seriously, the email list is incredible. It tells you everything that's going on at NAMI Tennessee. Things like, of course, things like the walk, the gala, the CIT conference, conferences in general, and most importantly, important legislative advocacy that you can participate in. It is 100% free. Please just head over to namitn.org and sign up now. All right, that's enough of that. Let's bring on our super cool guest. Can you introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Alondra Soto. I am the peer programs coordinator with NAMI Tennessee. That just means that I manage our two peer-led programs, one of them being Ending the Silence. A little bit about me. I am a Nashville native, born and raised here. I feel like that's a very rare thing nowadays. I'm super passionate about mental health ever since I was a little kid. And most importantly, I like to consider myself a peer.
Thank you so much for all that you do for peers across the state of Tennessee and beyond. So obviously, we have to start really at the beginning. Before we talk about Ending the Silence, what it does, how it helps, and why you're so passionate about it, let's make sure that we understand what it is and who's it for. So, of course, no surprise there. What is Ending the Silence and who is it for?
So, as you mentioned, Ending the Silence is one of our signature programs NAMI Tennessee offers. So what it is, it's a free presentation given by two of our trained presenters, one of which is a lead presenter and the other which is a young adult presenter. And the whole goal of Ending the Silence is to stop the stigma surrounding youth mental health. And what that really entails is providing education about the warning signs you can look out for, the symptoms, how to be there for your friend if they're showing symptoms, and also how to get the resources you need. Who is it for? I say everyone. Realistically, we offer 3 presentation types, one for students, one for families, and one for school staff. But I feel like under those 3 umbrellas, we can really encompass, the general audience.
When we talk about, one of the things that you mentioned was youth mental health. So does this mean that they are youth presenters talking to the community? Is there, and when you say youth, I think 10-year-olds, but what
Right.
defines youth mental health, and is it that age group that's talking to the entire community?
So with your question, what encompasses youth mental health? I'm speaking just in terms of Ending the Silence. It is geared towards middle and high school students. So around those ages between, I'd say 11, 12, up until 18. Those are our target audience, the people we want to get the presentation in front of. And what was your other question, Gabe?
What is the age of the presenter? So it sounds like it's
Okay, gotcha.
for youths, and what is the
Yeah.
age of the presenter?
So our lead presenter can be an adult of any age, but the cool thing is that we have what's called our young adult presenter. So that is someone that's between the ages of 18 and 30 who is living in recovery with a mental illness, and they share their story to kind of promote that recovery is possible, but also give the young kids an insight of what it was like for them.
Wonderful. Before we move on to the next question, I know you've said it's for middle school aged and high school aged students. What's the response that you get when you go out and talk to them? I have this. I ask because here I just have this idea. I talk to a lot of adults about mental illness, and I get this glossed over look, and they're adults, right?
Right.
I think of how difficult it is to reach children because they're just like, hey, I'm just going to pull out my phone or my Nintendo Switch. Are you getting a good response? Are you reaching them? Are they engaged?
So the good thing about Ending the Silence is that it's not just a boring PowerPoint presentation where we read off the slides. We have a lot of really cool videos that were created by kids, young kids, teenagers in California that we use throughout our presentation for Ending the Silence. And they are really moving. They're really captivating. A lot of kids most often say that the young adult story was their favorite part, because again, it just really drives home that mental health affects everyone, and we shouldn't let stigma hold us back from getting the help that we really need.
So it really sounds like I hate to say kids, but it sounds like the youth really connect with this. They're really I like what you said. It's not a boring PowerPoint presentation where you read off the slides. It sounds like they're getting a lot out of it and that they're a very engaged group.
Yeah, it's definitely an interactive presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, this begs the next question. Is it important to educate youths on mental health? And if so, why?
Oh gosh, this is such a big question. I mean, personally, I feel like our young generations are our future. One day they're going to be the people who are our age making decisions in our communities. And I think it is important because a lot of youth fall through the cracks of the system. A lot of times, and the statistics prove it, that kids don't get the help that they need when they need it. So that is definitely something Ending the Silence does preach, that early intervention and treatment can make a big difference. And it really only boosts the chances of that child's recovery.
I know that there's all of these stereotypes and tropes out there that if you talk to children about suicide, it gives them the idea to do it. If you talk to children about mental illness, they immediately think that they're mentally ill. Can you talk about that for a moment? Because I know that some well-meaning adults, administrators, and even parents are afraid to have this discussion with young people and with children for fear that it will damage them rather than help them.
So I completely understand that point of view. It's very normal to think that way, but and this is something I'm pulling directly out of our ETS presentation. Talking to your students or your kids about suicide isn't going to put thoughts of suicide in their head if they weren't already having them. I think, when you hear the word suicide in youth, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And I think that's a completely normal reaction. It is definitely an uncomfortable conversation to have sometimes, but it's one that needs to happen. Um, I think your kids or your students would get past the moment of feeling uncomfortable and feel really grateful or safe that they have an adult in their life who cares enough to, talk about these hard topics with them.
I know that one of the things that I often tell, again, well-intentioned and well-meaning adults who are trying to protect children is the information is out there. You can't shield them from it. It's all over social media. It's all over the internet, and they're talking about it with their peers. So the question is, do you want them to have the accurate information, the correct information, the information that is reliable, and do you want them talking to other adults? Or do you want them talking to other children if they do find themselves in a situation where they need help or have questions? That usually pushes people right over the edge. Now, this Ending the Silence program, I noticed that it's named Ending the Silence, and this is my last question about the name. I promise. Why is it called Ending the Silence?
So I think it's called Ending the Silence, in the sense of we want to end the silence surrounding the stigma. We don't want you to be quiet anymore if you're struggling with your mental health. We want you to feel safe and empowered and supported to share your story and get the help that you need. Because at the end of the day, uh, youth mental health is a real crisis that's happening in our communities, and avoiding a problem isn't going to make it go away.
I really like that. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. All right, let's move on to the next question. What do students take away from an Ending the Silence presentation? What do they learn?
So, well, of course, we give away some goodies. We have some Ending the Silence bracelets. We also send the kids home with what we call a resource card. So it has resources on if they are struggling with their mental health, who can they reach out to? And I think that's a good first step for them. Content wise, a lot of young people leave saying, I didn't know this was so normal, or they share things during the presentation and then a classmate will be like, oh my gosh, me too. So they get that, connection with their classmates, but they also learn about the warning signs and the symptoms to look out for if you're struggling with your mental health. Also, how to be a good friend if you notice your friend has some of those symptoms, and reaching out to the appropriate adult people in your life. And then from that, we do cover, you know, a little bit of the ropes to recovery, what that can look like and how that's different for everyone. And also we provide resources to the teachers after we leave. That way they can follow up with their students if they have any concerns.
It sounds like it's a like a wraparound presentation. It's not just
Yeah.
information that you give to students and then you just hope that they use it. You give them information and then you give the adults in their life information. And it sounds like it gets everybody on the same page to have what can be difficult conversations. And they're mostly difficult because we don't understand how to discuss it or have the words to discuss it. Am I hitting the nail on the head?
Yes, I agree, Gabe. I think it is definitely like an all-encompassing presentation.
Now, walk us through a presentation. So we'll pretend that I am a teacher and I have a class of 30 ninth graders. We're going to go with ninth graders. And I engage with you to have an Ending the Silence presentation. Can you walk me through what that day might look like? And in fact, I say day, but is it a 2-hour presentation, a 4-hour? What can you just like give us a little mini presentation, right? Not like the literal presentation, but what would we expect? How long would it be? What would this look like?
So I'll just tackle it from the student presentation point of view. So that is 60 minutes exactly. So our PowerPoint presentation, which I hate calling it that, but it is what it is 50 minutes. And then our young adult, their story is 10 minutes long. And then of course we follow all of our presentations by a Q&A. It gives the kids a chance to ask questions, but also gives the teacher a chance to ask questions. So what it would look like if we came to your class, Gabe. Well, it would be me touching base with you that usually the day before, just to make sure that there haven't been any, recent suicides in the school. That's definitely something we always ask. And then from that, it's just time and place. We come in, we get set up, and we hit the ground running after the presentation is over. Again, like I said, we leave you with these resources, but I also make sure to leave my contact information. I tend to make myself very open and available to all who would be interested in getting more information, but also if they need help connecting to resources, because that is what NAMI Tennessee is here to do.
Wonderful. So it sounds like it's about a 60-minute total time commitment. Like if I was a teacher, I would need 60 minutes of class time?
Ideally, yes. And that usually works out pretty good.
Wonderful, wonderful. And of course, you get all of the takeaways that we discussed previously. It forgive me for saying it this way, but it seems like an easy lift for a teacher or a coach or a leader of a youth group, that it seems like you do most of the work and we just have to carve out an hour and let you do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how it is. It is very easy. We try to make it as easy as we can for our teachers because we know they have a lot going on, or for whoever's interested in a presentation. But yes, you're correct. We do most of the legwork and we just show up in your classroom.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, obviously, you said show up in your classroom, which begs the question: who shows up? Can anyone become a presenter? What are the rules?
So I'm glad you asked. So I don't want to say anyone can come and become a presenter because we do have some stipulations. So as I mentioned before, we do presentations in teams of 2. We have our lead presenter and then we have a young adult presenter. So if you're interested in becoming a lead presenter, you either have to be an adult of any age, just over 18, living in recovery with a mental illness, or if you don't have a mental illness diagnosis, if you have a loved one who has a mental illness diagnosis, that would also qualify you. And that's it for the lead presenter. I mean, those are the only 2 things that we ask. And then to be a young adult presenter, you have to be living in recovery with a mental health condition in order to share your story. Oh, and also be between the ages of 18 and 30.
18 and 30. All right. So 31-year-olds, you are no longer a young adult. That is what we've established. I'm well past it. Don't worry. I just thank you so much. So let's talk about, let's say that somebody listening wants to become a presenter. What are the steps? What do they do? How do they get there?
So to become a presenter, it's very easy. You shoot me an email or give me a call. I would then follow up with you and just tell you a little bit about the program and making sure that you're a good fit for the program, but that the program is also a good fit for you and for what you're looking to do. It is volunteer based, so it would be people volunteering their time to the program. But it's very simple. It's an application that you fill out. Once I get that back, I schedule this screening where we just go over a few questions, get to know you and your story a little bit better. And then it moves on to an online training portion. Now, that does look different for a lead presenter versus a young adult. For the lead presenter, the online training module just goes over the presentation and how to, best portray that to get the most engagement from our students. And then for the young adult, we teach you how to formulate your story in a way to get your message of recovery across to these young people. And then after that, you'd be ready to go out and present.
How long does it usually take? Is this like a 1 week class? Is this I know that like NAMI Connections, for example,
Right.
it's like a weekend, right? It's like 3 10-hour days. I mean, it's basically boot camp for support groups. What's it like on this end? I know that every single program has its own flavor.
So the good thing about ETS is that I'm like your one-stop shop. It's just me, and we can really go on your pace or based on your schedule. But I would say it takes about an hour, 60 to 80 minutes to do the online portion. And then after that, we do what's called a coaching session held by me, where we either go over your story if you're a young adult, or we do a mock presentation if you're a lead presenter. And then after that, it really depends up to the individual. Some people would be ready to hit the ground running, and other people may say, well, Alondra, can we meet one more time? And the answer will always be absolutely, we can, because we want to make sure that our presenters feel confident.
I am so sorry, the computer is not cooperating. There we go. I just had to hit the button 5 or 6 times and it finally let me come back. Do you find that people, once they're trained, is there a level of confidence? I know that it can be nerve-wracking to present in front of people. So is there once they're trained by you, is there a way that they can sit in and not be, I know the lead presenter is an adult, but everybody has to do it the first time, but it's always easier when somebody else is in charge. Is there that possibility if somebody's like really on the fence and they're like, I want to try it, but I'm worried about it? Do you have accommodations for that, or is it you have to be all in?
So that's a situation I've never had to face before. But honestly, Gabe, I don't see that being an issue if, someone was interested, but they kind of wanted to see what it entailed before they jumped in. I definitely think we could accommodate them and letting them tag along and see what it is that we do.
That is absolutely wonderful. So I know that we've gotten to the end of the questions, and I know we have a little bit of time left. So I want to remind everybody watching, if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Feel free to drop your questions in the comments, and we will get answers for you while we fill out the rest of the time. But the big question that I have is, how long have you been doing this? What's your personal connection to this? What got you involved?
So, in short, I have been at NAMI Tennessee for just a little over 3 months now, which I know does not seem like a very long time. But one of the reasons I'm so passionate about youth mental health, especially ending the silence, is because it's definitely something I could have used at that age. As I mentioned, I'm a peer, and middle and high school were definitely some of the roughest years for my mental health. Unfortunately, I didn't have that support system that a lot of kids really need to be successful in the roads to recovery. And I was one of those kids that fell through the cracks and didn't get the treatment that I really needed until much later in life. And now, kind of just working through my own mental health journey, I really think that my story can resonate with a lot of people who look like me and those who don't look like me.
I think that is wonderful. Were you nervous your first few times, or did you jump right into it?
No, I was so nervous. My boss told me the best advice, and it was like, everyone's going to have butterflies, but you need to learn how to teach your butterflies how to fly in formation. So to me, that really meant just owning my story and sharing it through the lens that I lived it through. But yeah, I think there's nerves. I think nerves are normal. I think nerves will always happen. But the feeling you get after a presentation is hard to describe, but that's, the reason why I do it.
Well, thank you so much for doing it. Can you share with us any success stories? I know that one of the things that I love about being a speaker is, I mean, I love the applause. I'm completely in it for the applause and the
Right.
wave and the woo. But aside from that, one of my favorite moments is the hallway conversations, the afterwards. Somebody
Mhm.
always comes up to me when they see me alone and they want to whisper something to me. They want to tell me something that they didn't want to tell the rest of the group. They want to maintain their anonymity. There's always these moments. Do you have moments like this in this presentation, like for you personally as a presenter, where somebody shares something with you? And I obviously don't give away their name or anything, but do
Mhm.
you have those moments, and can you sort of explain the value in that?
Yeah, so I definitely have had those moments. And I think what it comes down to is connection. A lot of young people these days feel like, many adults in their lives don't understand them and they're going through a tough age. And it's all very valid. And for them, most of the time, a lot of adults may unvalidate those feelings that they're having. And then they see someone who's not much older than them in their class speaking on such a taboo topic and being so open about it and showing them that through all the adversity in my life, I still was able to make it out on the other end, um, and doing something that I love. So I really think it gives students an opportunity to connect with you, but also relate to your struggles, even if it's not necessarily what they went through. You'd be surprised how many times a student will say, "Oh, that happened to me." And then another student, their classmate, who they could be close to, be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going through the same thing and I never even knew." So we definitely foster that connectivity, which I personally love.
And Catherine, thank you so much for your comment here. She says, I am an Ending the Silence presenter, and two girls came up to me at the phone store and told me that they got help after they left the class that I taught. These are, I like to highlight these because, sometimes to the untrained observer, they see people in an audience and they have blank faces and they look like they're staring, and some people are uncomfortable and they're on their phone or they're live tweeting. I mean, we can't assume that just because people are on their phones they're bored anymore, right? They could be live
Right.
tweeting the event, and it's probably live TikToking now. I'm so far behind. But they say, well, people aren't interested in mental health. This isn't helping anybody. Everybody was bored. And then all of these stories, like the story that you just told, and Catherine's story, and the stories that I have, they sort of, nobody hears them. And these are the most important part of what we do. It's the people who are able to either have the courage to seek help, find a resource to seek help. And so often, administrators and people who are booking these things, they look out at the audience. They're like, "Oh, nobody's paying attention. This didn't do anything." But look at this. Look, Catherine, it did something amazing. And I just hope anybody considering doing this presentation for their class, their youth group, considers how amazing it can be. All you have to do is save one person, and it was absolutely well worth it. So I know we're running short on time here, but that's my last question. If a teacher, a coach, a youth group, uh, please, how do they reach you to sign up?
Yeah. So I don't know how to put my contact info on the screen, but
I
if you
can plug it into the screen for you.
perfect. Now I don't know the NAMI Tennessee number off the top of my head, but I can put my personal work number. Are you ready for
All
that,
right.
Gabe?
I am
It is 629
629
888
888.
0520. And then my email is asoto@namitennessee.org.
Perfect. Now let's see. Want to book a presentation? Here's how. Did I get it right? It should
Yep,
be
it's
popping up on the screen right now. Thank
it's
you.
that
Thank
easy.
you. And you know how else you would have known about this? If you sign up for NAMI TN's mail list. I mean, their email list is incredible. I don't know why people fight me on this. Just go to namitn.org and sign up right now. NAMI Tennessee will love you for it. And, eventually, once we have complete saturation of everybody in the state of Tennessee signed up, I can stop asking people to sign up. If you're interested in becoming a presenter, There is the way that you do it. If you're interested in booking a presentation, there is the way that you do it. You can also hit up info@namitn.org or go to namitn.org, and I'm sure that there is a button. We have a few minutes left. Do you have any last bits of information to share?
I don't think I have any further information. I do want to do like a selfless promo plugin
Of
for our
course.
36th annual state convention happening September 22nd and 23rd, where yours truly will be having a young adult workshop. It is called A New Era in Mental Health. So if you're a young adult and you are interested in coming, that's how you do it with my contact info.
I dropped it away. There it is. It's back. It's back, everybody.
There.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We really, really appreciate it. It was absolutely wonderful. There is her information. That is how you get everything that you need to know. The last thing that we will share with you is NAMI Tennessee's email list. Just go to namitn.org. It's how you find out about all the cool things that are happening, and you don't have to wait for a NAMI Tennessee at home live to do it. Thank you so much for being here. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Gabe.
Oh, you are very welcome. All right. We will see everybody next time on NAMI Tennessee at Home Live. Big waves. Goodbye.